Hello, Amador County. I'm Tom Slivick. Let's take a look at today's headlines. Mule Creek officer arrested on child molestation charges, alleging he provided minors with alcohol at pool parties at his home, and supervisors denied proposed design review regulations and moved to address the issues in depth in their draft general plan. And Jackson Rancheria's volunteer committee named Detert Park its next major park restoration project. Sierra Pacific Industries agreed to a record $122.5 million settlement from damages from a 2005 forest fire in Plumas and Lassen National Forests in Plumas County. And in the second half of the news, I'll be speaking with Detert Creek artist Rand Huggett about recent awards he received for the posters for the Amador County Fair, including this year's Barn in the USA. Stay with us. We'll have these stories when I return from the other side of the break. You're watching Amador County's #1 news and sports leader, TSPN. Hi everyone, and welcome back. A Mule Creek State Prison correctional officer was arrested Tuesday, July 17th on charges of molesting a minor girl after allegedly providing alcohol to numerous minors. Amador County Under Sheriff Jim Wagner released details of the ongoing investigation, saying that Ivan Walters, 38, a correctional officer at Mule Creek State Prison, has been arrested on charges of using a minor for sex acts, possession of matter depicting a minor engaging in sexual conduct, unauthorized invasion of privacy, committing a lewd act upon a child, child molestation, and multiple violations of business and professional code of furnishing an alcoholic beverage to a person under the age of 21. On June 2nd, the Amador County Sheriff's Department received a report from the parents of a 14-year-old girl who believed their daughter may have been molested by Walters. ACSO detectives began an investigation into the allegations. Wagner said the investigation was conducted. The Sheriff's Office received information from multiple sources regarding images posted on social media networks depicting minors consuming alcohol at Walters' residence. The investigation revealed Walters had been hosting pool parties for underage minors and facilitating an environment in which the minors could consume alcohol and participate in sexual activity. Wagner said detectives interviewed two separate and unassociated female juveniles that reported very similar accounts of incidents wherein Walters provided them alcohol to the point of intoxication, wherein they passed out, subsequently awaking in bed with Walters sexually assaulting them. Detectives secured a search warrant for Walters' residence, whereupon evidence was seized, which corroborated statements made by the victims. During the search, evidence was discovered which supports Walters had surreptitiously viewed and digitally recorded at least one underage female as she showered at his residence. Detectives provided the Amador County District Attorney's Office with the criminal investigation and request for an arrest warrant. Based upon the investigation, the District Attorney's Office filed a complaint against Walters, alleging the violations. Based upon the complaint, Amador Superior Court Judge Susan Harlan issued an arrest warrant for Walters with bail set at $40,000. Walters was arrested at the Sheriff's Office, then booked into the Amador County Jail, where he remains with bail increased to $80,000. Wagner said the administration of the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation at Mule Creek supported and assisted the Amador County Sheriff's Office during the investigation. Due to the number of juveniles exposed to these incidents, he said, the Sheriff's Office considers this an ongoing and active investigation. Anyone with information regarding the case is asked to contact the Amador County Sheriff's Office at 209-223-6500. Amador County Board of Supervisors in their late June meeting unanimously denied a design review process and regulations with a preference to establish voluntary design guidelines. The board also moved to revisit the county's draft general plan to go through its design element guidelines one by one to see which guidelines they want to keep. Supervisor John Plass said in making the motion that a workshop format could help reach a compromise on design guidelines so they can pick and choose design standards and find those that they feel are conducive to be recommended on a voluntary basis. The board agreed on voluntary design standards, though Supervisor Vice Chairman Richard Forrester said if a use permit is involved at all, it will matter whether the guidelines are followed. Forrester said even if it's voluntary, developments will have public participation at the Planning Commission, which, if it hears enough public input, will vote the way of the people's preference. County Planning Department Director Susan Grijalva said design guidelines in El Dorado County and Placerville do use the word should, not shall, but they remain as regulations. She said due to reduced staff and development numbers, she recommended supervisors consider impacts on staff from having mandatory guidelines. County Administrative Officer Chuck Ollie said this would be low priority because it's completely supported by the general fund. And Plass said supervisors should give developers a little bit of guidance to give them a sense of the style we would prefer to see in different areas of the county. He said requirements of signs and lighting for security costs more. Supervisor Chairman Louis Boitano said down the road, I think it would be a good to eventually have an architectural review process, but now is not the time. He also wanted to see down the road how much compliance they get from voluntary guidelines. Supervisor Ted Novelli noted 2008 comments about ag zoning exemptions, saying ag users still don't want this to pertain to them. And Supervisor Brian Onetto said he was not in favor of mandated guidelines and supported only voluntary ones. Grijalva said they could put it off until they did a full review of the design element, and Plaz noted success in San Luis Obispo, where use vary from historic to ag and business. He said they should try to give guidance from a diverse standpoint with a list of exemptions, expectations, so the developer can see what they would like them to propose but not require it. Novelli said a local phone company closed June 25th and 4 people lost their jobs. He said he did not want to hurt businesses. Adam Dalton announced this week that the all-volunteer Amador County Park Restoration Committee has selected Jackson's Detert Park as the location of its next major renovation project, with work scheduled to begin this week. Dalton announced this project in his weekly letter Wednesday, July 18th, and also acknowledged that Amador County Recreation Agency has responded to maintenance oversight concerns at Molly Joyce Park. And he said he will continue to work with ACRA as long as the work continues. Dalton said Detert Park is very special to the Jackson Rancheria Band of Miwok Indians and likely very special to local residents. He said it has made a reputation as a central park within our community, with many of us playing here ourselves as children. We are eager to get started on this transformation and are excited at the prospect of a new, safer Detert Park to be enjoyed by our families for many years to come. Dalton said people have been waiting for the right moment to join in the efforts to renovate Amador County parks. Now is the right time, and there are many ways you can help. He invited people to join the Park Restoration Committee 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Monday through Friday. Volunteers will receive a complimentary t-shirt, a hot lunch, and cold beverages through the day. Dalton said Detert Park is utilized by just about all of us at some point throughout the year, and this is your park, Jackson, and we are calling on you to join efforts with your neighbors. He said donating time, volunteering money, or even the use of equipment are all needed and appreciated as the Park Restoration Project takes on its next major project. Dalton also thanked ACRA for swift response to remedy concerns expressed by his family and the local newspaper regarding the lack of maintenance at Molly Joyce. He said he recently revisited the park and was pleasantly surprised at the attempts to improve the condition, and I'm happy to see the field looking much better. Dalton said, "Thank you, ACRA, for showing your concern. We hope that you continue your attention to these efforts. The Amador County Park Restoration Committee will gladly rejoin efforts with ACRA provided that we continue to receive your ongoing support." Dalton said, "We do not wish to exclude any park from the project and look forward to ACRA's park into the scope again with the future. We hope to begin moving forward together, working to provide beautiful parks to our community." The U.S. Attorney's Office announced reaching a $122.5 million settlement for the 2007 Moonlight fire, which was said to be the largest ever recovery for damages caused by a forest fire. U.S. Attorney Benjamin B. Wagner said the United States settled for a major lawsuit for damages resulting from the Moonlight fire ignited on September 3, 2007 on private forest land in Plumas County. It raged for more than 2 weeks, consuming about 65,000 acres acres of land. More than 46,000 acres were public lands in the Plumas and Lassen National Forests. A jury trial in the case before U.S. District Judge Kimberly J. Mueller had been scheduled to begin July 9th in Sacramento, and the Moonlight fire ignited during the 2007 Labor Day weekend as a result of logging operations by industry giant Sierra Pacific Industries and its contractor. 2 employees operated bulldozers in a remote area on a red flag warning day, a condition of high fire danger declared by the National Weather Service. The employees, one of whom had started a fire with his bulldozer earlier that season, were unsupervised. The fire ignited when the track or the blade of one of the bulldozers struck a rock and created sparks that ignited the surrounding dry ground fuels. The fire smoldered for a long period of time, but went undetected because the employees did not conduct their company-required fire patrol after shutdown. Instead, the designated fire watch left the work area and drove 30 minutes away to get a soda, and when they returned over an hour later, there was a 100-foot wall of smoke billowing from the work area. The employee was without a means of calling the fire in and had no access to fire suppression equipment, which was situated about a mile away from the work area. Defendants denied liability for the fire in both size and scope. The fire was amongst the most devastating fires in California history. The fire burned primarily at high intensity, killing more than 15 million trees on public land, some of which were over 400 years old. Of the trees killed on public land, 2 million could have been harvested for commercial use with enough timber to build more than 73,000 single-family homes. The fire also destroyed thousands of acres of critical habitat reserved for sensitive species, including the California spotted owl, the northern goosehawk, and the American martin. Let's take a quick look at our weather. Let's have 15 seconds here. It's a little hotter today. With a high of 88, low of 59, winds out of the northwest 3 to 7 miles an hour, and on Friday 92 with a low of 63. Stay with us. When I return, we'll be talking to Ran Huggett about his fair posters on TSPN. You're watching Amador County's #1 news and sports leader, TSPN.